Lately, I've been thinking video gamers, streamers, and twerkers, they're slowly rotting their brains, at least the ones that overindulge. So I'm a little torn, and here's why. Like every other lustful, sinful man who hasn't yet learned discipline and cannot turn away from sexual perversion, when Meg is throwing it around, it's literally like watching water. I give credit where it's due, but let's be frank, that's not a resourceful talent. Now I get it. The challenges allow for fan participation, that increases engagement, that increases streams, and encourages sales. But at what point does responsibility in our actions factor in? Miss me with the argument that artists don't raise kids. Inflation has the country in a chokehold. Maybe some parents have to pick up a few hours and they don't have babysitter money. Has anyone realized there's an entire generation of degenerate single mothers twerking outside of car windows on the rise, twerking at brunch, lunch, and everywhere in between? Now, despite contrary claims that violent video games are a direct correlation to violent crimes, we can agree they are undoubtedly linked to learned aggressive behaviors. It's not a coincidence mass assaults and homicides are being committed like we're living in a Call of Duty simulation. Maybe it's a gun regulation issue. Who really knows? Back in 2011, the Supreme Court ruled that video games have full free speech protections and it's unconstitutional to regulate the sale of violent games to minors. I'm not a parent yet, but as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. It's so important to be equipped with knowledge, otherwise the world will tell you how to exist in it. Bottom line, gaming isn't going anywhere anytime soon. The industry generated over $180 billion last year alone. Now check out these stats. On the upside, up to 2 hours of gaming can increase attention span. But on the downside, the ones who are addicted have increased dopamine, which means they want to feel that rush over and over again, so they keep playing. This cycle can be dangerous because eventually the brain won't produce enough dopamine on its own. Since it's relying on external stimuli, it'll become dopamine deficient. Think of it like sugar tolerance. A little bit is okay, but the more you eat, the more you want. The prefrontal cortex of the brain, this is responsible for decision-making, judgment, and self-control, that doesn't fully develop until the age of 25. Are we starting to see the correlation between young trigger-happy shooters, mass stabbings, and all kind of extreme bottom-feeder behaviors? It's bad enough state-mandated education doesn't teach critical thought and logic, the kinds of tools we need to think clearly and obtain truth. Public schools, which most minorities are limited to, teach what to think, not how to think. Plus, the cost of higher education keeps increasing. Just take a good look at public discourse. Once upon a time, it was about ideas, creativity, inventions, progress. Now it's about sex and gossip. Collectively, our societal intellect has deteriorated and will continue to until people consciously decide that they no longer are going to be used as guinea pigs. The powers that be will keep benefiting from the veils over your eyes.